Good afternoon to those of you on the East Coast, and good morning to the rest of us in the Central Time Zone, Mountain Time Zone, and of course the Pacific Time Zone. This is RSBN Live. I'm Matthew Alvarez at 1:30 Eastern Time. The president makes an announcement on freedom haulers. That'll be at the White House. Looking forward to that. And speaking of freedom haulers, let's check out this video from Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy. And actually, there's a number of videos from the secretary, so let's take a look.
Are you a veteran and not an illegal alien?
Yippee-ki-yay.
Did you drive things like this? Or this? Maybe even this? You drove the toughest roads on Earth, defending our freedoms.
Stick around.
Why not get paid to drive on ours?
You show me a pay stub for $72,000 on it, I quit my job right now.
How about 6 figures? Become a freedom hauler.
You ever think about that? I like it.
We like it too.
It's a real blessing.
And we're blowing up fraud. We want you on the front lines. Your road, your rules. Make your own hours, your schedule.
You sure about that?
Oh, we're sure.
Keep talking.
And did I mention medical benefits and sign-on bonuses? Training costs are completely covered for veterans because our heroes treat safety like a mission and rack up more miles doing it. Best part, you'll be on the road in a few weeks.
It's happening! Everybody stay calm!
What are you waiting for?
You can do it!
Your next mission deploys now.
For decades, getting a CDL, the commercial license you actually need to pilot an 80,000-pound big rig down the highway, was a total flip of a coin. One path was totally legit. The other path? Kapow! Pure Wild West chaos. Meet Honest Hank. Hank wanted to earn his CDL the right way. First, Hank studied hard and earned his commercial learner's permit. Then Hank attended a federally certified CDL training school. Then came the final road test, vehicle inspection, backing test, real highway driving. And after all that hard work, Hank officially earned his CDL. Then, there's Problem Pete. Back under Biden and Buttigieg, Problem Pete found an easier way. Instead of real training, shady operators exploited the outdated system with little oversight. Then came the DMV process. Some states offered CDL testing in over 25 languages. They skipped foreign background checks and handed out long-term licenses to people whose work authorization had already expired. That's no bueno. Honest Hank earned his CDL under his real legal name. Problem Pete? Not so much. And once they hit the road, oh my, the difference became terrifyingly obvious. Honest Hank maintained a safe, clean truck and followed the law. Problem Pete's truck looked like it was held together with duct tape and bad decisions. Hank followed road signs carefully. Pete couldn't read them at all. When Pete did get busted for safety violations, he had a shady trick up his sleeve, transforming into a chameleon carrier. He'd get shut down by inspectors and magically reopen under a brand new name almost overnight. Honest Hank obeyed mandatory rest periods. Problem Pete rewound his driving logs like an old VHS tape. Thankfully, it's the end of the road for Problem Pete. Yes, sir. Because when President Trump got elected again, he promised to make America safe again. So he and Secretary Sean Duffy, they devised a plan to restore integrity to our trucking system and protect you and your family on our American roads.
Desk job, a spreadsheet. You don't belong in a cubicle. You belong behind a different kind of horsepower, one that still serves your country, one that you've already trained for, because you treat safety like a mission. We need you to finish the job. Join now.
Well, that's one way to wake up this morning. Wow. I mean, at 1:30, we're going to see the president make that announcement on freedom haulers with the I believe the Secretary of Transportation, Sean Duffy, will be in attendance, just like he was yesterday for the announcement about the Washington Dulles International Airport upgrades. We'll show you a video here shortly. And then when you watch that one video, if you're just joining us now, there was somebody called Problem Pete in this kind of cartoonish video that we just heard. And I was thinking, Pete, who else was a Secretary of Transportation with the first name of Pete? Buttigieg. Interesting. Problem Pete. All right, so again, we'll see the president in about an hour and a half or so. Of course, we delay if needed, or sometimes, like last week, the president went to an EPA meeting, and that started about 10 minutes prior to the scheduled start time. So we're ready for whatever here at the network when it comes to the schedule of the president. All right, let's go now to check out that Washington Dulles International Airport upgrade as discussed yesterday at the White House event in clip number 2.
In the arms of the angel, fly away from here, from this dark, cold hotel room, and the endlessness that you fear. You are pulled from the wreckage of your silent reverie. You're in the arms of the angel. May you find.
We have quite the videos for you this morning. For those that started out with us live, I know, as soon as we start, sometimes the numbers, grows over the broadcast. And of course, as President Trump gets closer, and in some cases, depending on the event, right? If it's a major event like July 3rd, July 4th, President Trump's speech, that national primetime address, various events at the White House, and then on replay, and then a lot of the stuff gets seen on replay as well, and also throughout our social media platforms. But anyway, the point is, those are pretty fun videos we just started out the broadcast with. And if you've ever been in Dulles International, yeah, I've been on those people movers or whatever, but it's kind of a funny song with a funny way to see the angel wings taking the Dulles people mover up into heaven. So I guess in heaven there's Dulles people movers. Cool. Beautiful day there at Thomas Jefferson Memorial out there in Washington, D.C. Let's go to a few of our sponsors in the meantime, though. All Family Pharmacy. You've probably been hearing about that cyclospora parasite that's been making headlines lately. Health officials have been investigating this growing outbreak that has now been reported in 31 states. The parasite can cause all sorts of symptoms, from severe diarrhea to stomach cramps, nausea, and fatigue. It's also a really good reminder that unexpected illnesses can happen, which is why it's important to have a pharmacy you can count on for easy access to essential medications and physicians that can provide a prescription when you need it. That's where All Family Pharmacy comes in. They've made healthcare simple. You can order medications on their website and get the prescription from their doctors if needed. Then your medications are shipped directly to your door. They offer antibiotics like Bactam, which is commonly recommended for this infection, along with anti-parasitic medications, everyday maintenance medications, allergy meds, and hundreds of other prescriptions. You can visit allfamilypharmacy.com/RSBN. Use that RSBN 10 promo code, get 10% off. You can give them a call at 561-717-6794. Great sponsor, great company right there, All Family Pharmacy. Let's go to Birch Gold Group. We wouldn't be celebrating America 250 if it wasn't for a strong foundation set by the framers. Alexander Hamilton built America's financial foundation on the principle of sound, stable money, a principle later embodied by the gold standard. However, we abandoned that discipline, of course, in 1971 and have since seen inflation slowly erode the dollar's value over the years. So what is the foundation of your savings? Is it gold, or something that can be shaken, disrupted, or devalued? Birch Gold Group has been helping Americans solidify their savings with gold for the past 15 years. They'll help you convert an existing IRA or 401k into a tax-sheltered IRA in gold. Learn how gold fits into your portfolio by simply texting the word Trump to that number, 989898. You'll receive a free, no-obligation info kit. They have an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau, countless 5-star reviews. Let Birch Gold help build your foundation with gold. Again, text the word Trump to the number 989898. Again, text Trump to 989898. All right, we're 11 minutes after the hour, 10 minutes after the hour. let's do something quickly. Let's take a quick commercial break. We'll be right back here on Right Side.
Hey y'all, it's Silk from Diamond and Silk Chit Chat Live. Look, don't forget to watch my show right here at Right Side Broadcasting Network, and I want you to support Right Side Broadcasting Network. It's imperative that you do so, okay? Bye-bye.
Welcome to Right Side Broadcasting Network, your trusted conservative news outlet. At RSBN, we deliver the truth when the mainstream media falls short. Since 2015, we've proudly broadcasted every single one of President Trump's iconic MAGA rallies, bringing you the excitement and energy live before anyone else. By watching RSBN, you get an unfiltered front row view of the action on the ground. We interview the crowds to give a voice to millions of Americans just like you. We show you President Trump's speeches in their entirety, free from interruptions and censorship. We cover the stories that matter to you with the integrity and passion you deserve. Thank you for choosing RSBN as your home for America First news. Together, we stand strong, united, and informed. So join us and be part of the right side of history.
MyPillow's second annual mega sale is finally here. Get our patented premium MyPillows that adjust your exact individual needs to give you the best sleep of your life.
When I got MyPillow, I'm asleep almost immediately. I stay asleep at night and I wake up more well-rested in the morning.
I guarantee they're going to be the most comfortable pillows you'll ever own. King size only $24.98, queen size only $19.98. Giza Dream bed sheets, the best sheets in history, as low as $29.98. Luxpeer 6-piece towel sets, towels that actually dry you. What a concept. Now only $39.98. And our made in the USA mattresses and mattress toppers as low as $99.98. So go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to take advantage of our second annual mega sale. Plus free shipping options available when you order today. So don't delay, order now.
Welcome back on this Thursday, July 30th, almost getting to the end of the month. Can you believe it? August around the corner, then September, before you know it, October, then it's midterm election time. Speaking of that, joining us now is Ali Triolo, the RNC Election Integrity Comms Director. Ali, thanks so much for joining us here on Right Side.
Hey, thank you so much for having me today.
Definitely. Let's dive right into how important it is for the Save America Act to become law for our country.
You're exactly right. I mean, this is common sense legislation. America is the best country on earth, and obviously our election should be the most secure on earth. We need to have photo ID to vote. We need to have proof of citizenship. We need to accurately clean our voter rolls. These are common sense election integrity measures, and we are in full support of President Donald Trump and Republicans getting this over the finish line.
You know, the RNC, the president, and many others have the receipts of fraud in that 2020 election. No wonder the liberal media doesn't want to talk about it, right, Ali?
Yeah, and President Trump, he peeled back the curtain just a few weeks ago by showing proof to the American people of just how bad the foreign interference in our elections were. 220 million Americans' voters' information stolen by Chinese intelligence. We have hundreds of thousands non-citizens on voter rolls, to the point where even Democrats can't deny this is happening. Just this week, we saw Mikey Sherrill of New Jersey admit that there were thousands of non-citizens on the voter rolls, which is something that the RNC and New Jersey GOP already uncovered a month ago. So we know it's time to secure our elections. We are less than 100 days from the midterms, and that's what we're fighting to do here at the RNC.
And then speaking of that midterm national convention, an RNC midterm national convention, the first of its kind in September. The RNC and I believe we the people are getting pumped about that.
I think everyone should be pumped to see what Republicans have managed to do at a historic rate so far since taking control of the House, Senate, and of course, presidency under President Trump. We have enacted the lowest tax cuts in American history. We have secured our border, made neighborhoods safer. There is so much to celebrate, and obviously it will be a great way to motivate voters ahead of the midterms.
And Ali, understand that you have a media background yourself, and now you're speaking about the right side of history. What is it like to go from maybe a liberal kind of situation, like I did in mainstream media, and take that move to the right side of history?
It is a huge blessing. I've always been a proud Republican, and now getting to storytell on behalf of my views, our party's views, how I want our country to succeed for generations to come. It is the greatest honor of my life to serve the RNC and, of course, ultimately President Trump.
Awesome. Ali Triolo, the RNC Election Integrity Comms Director. Ali, thanks again for joining us. Hope to have you guys back again soon.
Thank you for having me.
Definitely. Awesome stuff there. And again, it's awesome to see various, mainstream media reporters, anchors, like myself, like Ali, like others, that have shifted over to the right side of history, really, to talk about the Save America Act, to talk about the country and all of that. So great to see it. And let's go from one great interview to another. Let's go to Birch Gold Group's Philip Patrick joining us right now. Thank you so much, Philip, for joining us.
Thank you for having me, Matthew.
Definitely. The Federal Reserve, left interest rates unchanged this week. So how does that square with Chairman Warsh's insistence on maintaining that 2% inflation target, Philip?
Yeah, I thought Warsh's insistence on the Fed's target was very telling, especially since the decision in a vacuum will not bring down inflation. But I think his restatement of the 2% target reflects how difficult the inflation picture has become for the Fed to deal with. Higher interest rates work to quell inflation by making borrowing more expensive and slowing consumer spending, business and hiring. But the problem is a lot of the inflation we're seeing is not coming on the demand side, it's coming on the supply side. And that's the problem that the Fed have. They can't create supply, right? They can't drill for oil. So rates essentially are a blunt instrument. They can cool demand, but like I said, they can't create the supply side. So that's the challenge that the Fed are facing today. If they raise too little, inflation becomes entrenched. And if they raise them too aggressively, then they risk slowing the economy without addressing the original source of the price increases. So it's a tough one, and you can see it, I think.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, at the same time, we see the administration has imposed those new tariffs on imports from dozens of nations. So can our country rebuild domestic industry without making the Fed's inflation problem even harder?
The answer is short term, I think it puts a squeeze on the Fed, but long term, it's very important. This is a legitimate long term objective. The problem is tariffs themselves don't rebuild manufacturing. What they do is they change incentives. Shorter term, though, those higher costs are passed on. It's either absorbed by businesses or consumers. So, tariffs work well, I think, as part of a broader industrial strategy that includes reliable energy, skilled labor, infrastructure, permitting reform, all of it. So I know Trump and the team are working towards it, but shorter term, it's going to put a little bit more pressure on the Fed and a little bit more pressure on prices.
And speaking of the team, of course, Scott Besson at Treasury. Treasury is increasingly relying on some of the short-term bills to finance the government. So what does that really mean for the national debt?
Look, it tells us, I think, that the situation's getting a little bit more desperate. Treasury bills, so the short term, they mature in 1 year or less, which means Washington are having to refinance a growing share of the national debt much more frequently. Bills are attractive because demand is strong for them, so they can reduce borrowing costs in the shorter term. But every time those bills mature, the Treasury's got to refinance them at whatever rate is present at the time. It's a little bit like refinancing your mortgage with an adjustable rate loan. It works until rates get higher, and then you start to have a problem. So it's working to lower debt service longer term, but I think it's reflecting a broader problem. And ultimately, if we can't stop amassing debt, as you and I have discussed many times, that's going to be the biggest problem that we're facing.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of moving parts out there with the financial markets, with trade policy, interest rates, and federal borrowing all pulling really in different directions. What role can physical gold actually play for families concerned about the purchasing power of the dollar?
Yeah, look, I think we're seeing it, right? Gold has had a volatile year, but anyone that's held it for a year is up over 20%, 2 years, 70%, 3 years over 100%. So precious metals are moving in this climate. And I think it's because there is a realization globally that from a debt and deficit standpoint, we are in at least short term trapped. We're printing money to meet deficits, which devalues the dollar and ultimately drives the price of gold up. And what I would say is gold's not about predicting disaster. It's just about recognizing that we've got a lot of challenges and a lot of uncertainty in front of us. And precious metals do very, very well in those climates. And as a final point, this isn't about putting everything into gold. It's about making sure that a portion of our financial future isn't entirely dependent on policymakers getting absolutely every decision right.
So if people text Trump to that number 989898, tell us what will happen from there as soon as they do that.
Look, broadly, they're just going to get access to a ton of good information, guides on how and why to buy gold in this climate, technical analysis. And then from there, if they want to learn more, they're going to have access to myself and a lot of people like me. We're very knowledgeable in terms of the precious metals markets. We can answer questions, guide them through. And ultimately, if there's something they want to do, we can help facilitate putting physical precious metals in a retirement account or directly in their hand for a cash purchase.
Day in and day out here at the network, we ask a question when we talk about Birch Gold Group to our viewers. And that question is, what is the foundation of your savings? Is it gold or something that could be shaken, disrupted, or devalued? Isn't that the most common sense way to ask that question?
Yeah, it absolutely is. And I think if you look at it in those terms, and that was the point I was trying to make, right? Like for a lot of people, everything's sitting in paper and they're very reliant on the Fed getting it right, interest rates right, inflation getting under control. And, I'm hopeful. We've got the strongest, governmental team I've ever seen in my lifetime. But, we have insurance for our house, for our car, for our, bodies, for our health. And I think precious metals, in a way, are a form of insurance to say, hey, if this side gets tricky, at least we have a portion in precious metals that'll grow. And I think it's that simple.
Yeah, it's a perfect point right there. This is Philip Patrick with Birch Gold Group. Philip, thanks again for your insight on the markets, and thanks for joining us here on Right Side.
Thank you.
Definitely. So yeah, text Trump to 989898. You get that free info kit, no obligation. They have those 5-star reviews, the A+ rating in the Better Business Bureau, a great company there, Birch Gold Group. All right, shifting gears now, as we will see that announcement at 1:30. This is about freedom haulers coming up. We're going to go through some of the videos we played at the top of the broadcast, which was about 23 minutes ago. But let's go to clip 3 in the meantime. The White House released a video about good old Anthony Fauci pleading the Fifth 111 times yesterday during that Senate hearing. Let's check out clip number 3.
Well, nothing says honesty like taking the Fifth, huh, Doc? What day of the week is it today?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
What color tie are you wearing?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
What color's the carpet in front of you?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
What does the Fifth Amendment of the Constitution say?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment of the Constitution.
Do you have the dignity to just say you're sorry?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment of the Constitution. Respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment of the Constitution.
So many things to say, but I think it's all been said already. We know what happened there yesterday. It's a lot of... Anyway, I'm not going to go there. Yesterday we went there, along with a number of other people on social media and throughout conservative media, and maybe some in the mainstream media might have covered it, but they didn't cover it to the extent that we would here in conservative media. Kind of simple as this, telling it like it is. Anthony Fauci, of course, a straight-up failure and a hack. There you go. Right? And I'm sure you guys have plenty of other words you don't want to use there. But anyway, let's do this. Let's go to a couple sponsors, and we're going to go to another live interview here in just a second. Let's first start with Free USA Dog Gift. Let's take a minute to speak to all the parents watching today. It's officially the dog days of summer, and if your house is anything like ours used to be, that means the dog sprawls out on the coolest tile floor he can find, refusing to move for anyone. You know, it seems our dogs tend to run the house, and honestly, in some cases, we wouldn't have it any other way. Well, here's a fun fact. Our founding fathers were the exact same way. Turns out long before they were founding a nation, they were the original dog people. Tails wagging in the halls of Mount Vernon and Monticello, muddy paw prints on important documents. Our founders love their dogs every bit as much as we love ours today. And with America's 250th birthday, what better way to get kids excited about history and all of that through the goofy, loyal, tail-wagging companions who were there for it all. So our friends at the Kids Guide have put together a great guide called The Kids Guide to the Founders' Furry Friends, giving kids a fun and heartwarming look at the dogs who stood and sat and probably begged for scraps beside our nation's founders. It's the perfect keepsake souvenir for kids, and they're giving it away for free at freeusadoggift.com. Plus, when you request your copy, they'll also give you a second free guide called The Kids Guide to the Founder's Message for Today. Really a must-read for every child. So during these dog days of summer, head on over to freeusadoggift.com and get these free guides for your family and help celebrate America's 250th birthday the right way. Let's also go to mypillow.com/RSBN. Of course, the great Mike Lindell right there with a great company, a number of great companies, running for governor in Minnesota. There's a lot going on, a lot on Mike's plate right now. But also, you can go to mypillow.com/RSBN and purchase a number of great products. As you guys know, there's some deep discounts really when it comes to MyPillow, but these deep discounts are for really quality products. I wonder how many of you at home have a MyPillow product. Maybe we'll do a live chat a little bit later. The other day, on Monday I believe it was, we were asking who liked Ford or Chevy more because the president was at the GM plant out there, the proving ground in Milford, Michigan. Pretty much a tie. A lot of people saying Ford, but a decent amount saying Chevy too. But maybe we'll ask that question about, hey, do you guys have MyPillow products? Because I assume you do, but maybe I'm wrong. So we'll see. We'll do it live, right? Approaching the bottom of the hour here on Right Side Broadcasting Network. You know, every once in a while, the American dream kicks into high gear in one's youth. Well, our next guest has become really successful and is a product of free market capitalism, sheer hard work, and is also giving back through his business. Joining us now is Holden Bierman, the founder and CEO of CoastalCool.com. Holden, thanks so much for joining us on Right Side.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Definitely. Okay, so we see that you've been on national TV, a lot of social media, that kind of thing, because of your success story. So can you talk to us about your story?
Yes, sir. Yeah, this started my 6th grade year of middle school roughly 6 years ago. I recently graduated high school about a month ago. I was 12 years old, bored, had a lot of time on my hands, and I've always been fascinated with marketing and social media, website building. I used to take stuff from around the house and sell it in our front lawn to our neighbors and our friends. So I always had that sell mentality. And when COVID-19 happened, I had an abundance of time. So kind of connected the dots, pieced some things together, built a business plan, and went from there.
So when your team reached out to me, I checked out the whole, your whole bio, and I was like, wow, this guy, dude, starting at 12, he's just graduating high school. Can you give Gen Z or is it Gen Alpha now, Gen Beta? I mean, I don't even know which one it is at this point, but can you give some encouragement to maybe some that might watch this live or on replay?
Yeah, I'm Gen Z. I guess that's what the headline has gone for. And I think just kind of trust your gut, follow your passion. For me, it was always following my passion and just trusting that little mind inside my head and going with it. I've done everything I've wanted to do and I love every minute of it. And I've met some awesome people along the way and I've done some awesome things over the last 6 years. So
that's awesome. Can you tell us about your upbringing? Did your parents kind of steer you into the entrepreneurial spirit?
Yeah, so my dad's been in business his whole life in sales, team leadership, and my mom was a counselor and now a children's book author, and she's got that creative side, so I think I get that equal 50-50. I get the business side and the selling side from dad, and I get the creative side from mom, so I'm truly blessed on that genetic side, but I've always had that push to sell and to create, and that's what Coastal Cool is. It's my baby.
Isn't that awesome, though, the American dream, the entrepreneurial spirit, the free market capitalism? Can you talk a little bit about, being born in this country, let alone if you were born in some other country where you couldn't even have these kind of opportunities?
Yeah, no, I'm truly blessed to be born in America and to support the American dream. And essentially, I hate to say this, or I really don't, but I am the American dream, right? You know, this is the American dream story, to be able to start a company at 12 years old with $500 and build it to a global scale, all from a laptop with no employees, no investors. Again, while being in sixth grade and now just recently graduating high school, there's no other country on this earth that can do that and to support that and to allow it. And I think America should continue to support Gen Z entrepreneurs and support the American dream and supporting startups and businesses like this in the story and inspire the next generation to do this. So.
And then talk about inspiration, the late, great Charlie Kirk, you know, I don't think he attended college at all, but I know that he's basically said he didn't need to go to college, and you don't either in some cases, right? And did you go or did you drop out? What's your story about that?
No, sir. I recently just graduated high school in June.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Yes, sir. And I had my heart set on a school here in North Carolina. Unfortunately, I did not get into that school. I got into every other college but the one I wanted to at that time. So I decided, you know what, this is God's path. This is my purpose. And I'm just going to go with the flow, continue building what's right in front of me and what I've worked to create over the last 6 years and continue the momentum behind that. And again, college is always there if I need it one day. So continue with what's in front of me.
Exactly. So you are going to be attending college. You want to do that too?
Maybe we'll see. As of right now, I'm going full force in business, and maybe one day I'll end up in a classroom again. So,
well, I think life is a classroom in general, anyway, even outside of college or school, anyway. Final word here as we move forward. You know, we talk a lot about the Save America Act here, right? Voter ID, proof of citizenship, all that kind of thing. Do you kind of have that political mind on too while you're seeing what's going on in the country, or are you just so laser focused on the business that you kind of maybe check out the news headlines once in a while? What's kind of your way of doing things?
I would say I look from the political side in terms of business. You know, how does it affect a business owner, especially a small business owner in today's world, and how does this affect a young entrepreneur? I look from that side of politics rather than the going at it side of politics. But again, whatever supports the American dream and supporting Gen Z and supporting capitalism and the fact that to create a business at such a young age with such a small amount of money and make it global, that's what I support at the end of the day.
That's awesome, man. Holden Bierman, thank you so much. The founder and CEO of coastalcool.co. Thanks again, man.
Thank you, sir.
Yep, definitely. Well, good stuff there. All right, cool to see that. You know, at the end of the day, again, the American dream, whether it starts at 12 or 18 or 28 or 38, 48, whatever age, just get a hold of it, right? And that's something that goes through that hard work, that dedication, and also if you fail a few times, well, you get right back up and keep on going, right? Don't quit ever. And that's something I've heard President Trump say a lot. Don't ever quit, keep going. And that is something that is so true, even outside of business. That's just what you do. You have to do it. There's no other choice. Anyway, 12:34. It is Thursday, July 30th. We're going to go to a few more clips here on Right Side Broadcasting Network. Let me double check what we're on to next. I believe that's clip number 6. We have the recent statement from Dr. Oz regarding health care plans. So let's take a look at clip 6 for now.
For too long, Washington has been rewarding broken systems instead of fixing them. This administration is focused on solving real problems, not maintaining flawed programs that financially reward insurance companies and waste taxpayer dollars. The Biden administration's signature law destabilized the prescription drug plan market for seniors. So what do? Throw billions of extra taxpayer dollars directly at big insurance companies. Not surprisingly, the Biden bailout was gamed, especially by the very large insurance companies that got the sweetheart deal. They garnered a multi-billion-dollar windfall from the federal government. That's your money. Thankfully, over the past 2 years, the president's efforts to reduce pharmaceutical prices have stabilized the Medicare drug plan market, and now over 90% of beneficiaries will be able to access plans that cost them less than $10 per month. So, we did our job, protecting the integrity of Medicare and ended the bailout of insurance companies. That's what happens when you solve problems instead of subsidizing them. And we're not stopping there. Instead of focusing on insurance companies, the Trump administration shifted our attention to better pharmaceutical prices for all Americans. In fact, we just announced that all eligible Medicare beneficiaries can access weight loss drugs, and listen carefully, a price of only $50 per month. How do we pull this off when these medications have historically cost hundreds of dollars more? The president. He negotiated aggressively and pushed down pharmaceutical prices. Pharmaceutical companies now give us the best prices in the developed world. This program is so successful that since its launch earlier this month, almost 250,000 seniors have signed up. Working together, we can reduce waste, ensure fair, affordable prices for our seniors. Real solutions, real results.
All right, let's stick to the healthcare kind of angle and go to All Family Pharmacy, another great sponsor here at Right Side Broadcasting Network. We've been talking about this cyclospora parasite that's been making headlines. Health officials have been investigating the outbreak that has now been reported in 31 states. The parasite can cause severe diarrhea, stomach cramps, nausea, and fatigue. It's also a good reminder that unexpected illnesses can happen, which is why it's important to have a pharmacy you can count on for easy access to essential medications and physicians that can provide a prescription when you need it. And that's really where All Family Pharmacy comes in, because they've made healthcare simple. You can order medications on their website, get the prescription from their doctors if needed, then your medications are shipped directly to your door. This is after that short medical questionnaire. They offer antibiotics like Bactim. Now that strong antibiotic Bactim is what's used and commonly recommended for that cyclospora parasite infection. They also have other antiparasitic medications, everyday maintenance meds, allergy medications, and hundreds of other prescriptions. All you have to do to get things started, you have 3 ways to do it. You see them all right there at the bottom of the screen, allfamilypharmacy.com/RSBN. You can use that RSBN 10 promo code, get you 10% off. You have the QR code right there, and you also can call 561-717-6794. Let's also go to our next sponsor here, Birch Gold Group. Woody, of course, wouldn't be celebrating America 250 if it wasn't for a strong foundation set by the framers. Alexander Hamilton built America's financial foundation on the principle of sound, stable money, a principle later embodied by the gold standard. However, we abandoned that discipline in 1971 and have since seen the inflation really erode the dollar's value over the years. So that question that I asked Philip Patrick earlier, what is the foundation of your savings? Is it gold or something that can be shaken, disrupted, or devalued? Birch Gold Group has been helping Americans solidify their savings with gold for the past 15 years, and they'll help you convert an existing IRA or a 401k into a tax-sheltered IRA in gold. So learn how gold fits into your portfolio by texting that word Trump to the number 989898. You'll receive a free no-obligation info kit with an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau, countless 5-star reviews. You can let Birch Gold help build your foundation with gold. Text that word Trump to 989898. That gets the ball rolling. We are 22 minutes from the top of the hour. Thanks again for joining us here on Right Side Broadcasting Network. And you know, the other day, I saw radio host, podcast host Glenn Beck give a phone call to Senator Thune. And it was a voicemail that he left because I've called the same number. I wanted to leave a voicemail as well, just as a concerned citizen, that we need to push for the Save America Act to become the Save America law. So maybe what we'll do, I was thinking about it, and you could say, yeah, right, you saw Glenn do it. Well, I was thinking about it prior to when Glenn did it, to make that phone call on the air one time, and I just didn't do it. Well, maybe we do it now, you know? Maybe we will. So I'll get that number, and then what we can do is on the live chat, maybe we all can do this together. And it's a very respectful phone call. We're talking fighting legally, lawfully, and spiritually. And what we'll do is I'll look up the phone number, we can call the number, leave the voicemail, and maybe just have an influx of, I don't care if it's 5 calls or 5,000 calls. He already knows that the people want this. The thing is, even if we call, the thing that's unfortunate is there are still Republican senators that are not on team nuke the filibuster. Get on team nuke the filibuster, because if you don't, that train is leaving the station. And guess what station it's going to possibly next? Democrat Union Station. You know what I mean? Democrat Socialist Station. Democrat Communist Station. Democrat Sharia Law Station. So that train's going to go there. If they do take the House, the Senate in the future, the presidency, I'm not saying they will, but if they do, they're going to nuke the filibuster and push through everything possible. President Trump has said this. I've said this. I know there's no comparison. He's the commander-in-chief. He's the most famous person on earth. But still, I'm an American citizen just like you guys are. We the people, it's our government, a government of, by, and for the people, right? So maybe we'll call, maybe we won't. I'll throw it around. Maybe we'll ask you guys, do you think we should call on the air live? Not afraid to do that. It's not a big deal. It's just a call. So maybe we'll do it. We'll see. We'll talk about that in just a little bit. Let's go now from talking about Washington, D.C., Capitol Hill, to the Sunshine State, where the VA Secretary, Doug Collins, toured a military museum recently. Let's go to clip number 4.
Hey, it's Doug. You never know where we're going to be again. We're back out on the road, Zephyr Hills down in Florida. I'm here with Laurel Lee, Congresswoman, who is doing an amazing job taking care of veterans in this area. She comes from a long line of service in this state, but right now she's in Congress doing what we're exactly supposed to, putting veterans first. And so it's good to be here with her. Great to see the museum here. If you're down here, you got to see this museum. It just shows how much this area takes care of its veterans and wants to remember that. So Laura, it's great to be here with you. Thanks for everything that you're doing to help us.
Well, we're thrilled to have you here today, Secretary Collins. We have a tremendous military, active duty, and veterans population here in this part of the state. And this museum in Zephyr Hills tells the stories of a lot of the service members who lived here, their families, and it's just really an iconic part of our community here. And we are so glad we could share it with you. Thank you for everything you are doing for our veterans.
Well, we're going to continue because you know what? It's always veterans first at the VA. We're down in Florida. You never know where we're going to be next. Take care.
All right, the VA Secretary Doug Collins touring the country, of course, going to various Veterans Affairs hospitals, doing the best he can, as we, of course, in America love our veterans and love our freedoms, and thank God for our veterans. The phone number for Senator John Thune's office in Washington, D.C., if you'd like to type it on your phone, I don't know if you have something to write with, but let's see it. It's 202-224-2321. 202-224-2321. So I was thinking about it. If I call now, right, and it's live, most likely nobody picks up. I'd have to say right away, hey, you're on a, I guess we're recording, are we? We're live. I don't know the laws with all that, so I'm going to hold off for doing that for right this second since we are live. I'm not sure when Glenn Beck did it, if he was recording a show or if he did it while he was live. I'm just going to hold off on that. Not because I haven't called before. I have on my personal time, just once, just to line up an interview with Senator Thune, because it's something that President Trump has asked us to do after the Milford, Michigan speech on Monday, after the Marietta, Georgia speech that we were at last Wednesday. At the end, he says, call John Thune's office, call the Republican senators, email them, let them know that we the people want the Save America Act to become the Save America law. And of course, out of a respectful tone and all of that, but we know how to vote in this country. But that's what leads us to what we're talking about, is getting the Save America Act in so we don't have any more problems that President Trump has talked about on that national primetime address on Thursday night, last Thursday night, where the mainstream media decides you're talking about too much truth there, Commander-in-Chief, leader of the free world, the guy that has been elected to the presidency 3 times in a row. So that leads me to my next point, actually, which is along the same lines. So clip number 10 is actually just a screenshot of some specifics here that I'm going to get to on the White House task force here. I'm just looking for it. I can't find it right now. I'm going to take a quick commercial break because it's important information. We'll be right back here on Right Side.
Hey y'all, it's Silk from Diamond and Silk Chit Chat Live. Look, don't forget to watch my show right here at Right Side Broadcasting Network, and I want you to support Right Side Broadcasting Network. It's imperative that you do so, okay? Bye-bye.
Welcome to Right Side Broadcasting Network, your trusted conservative news outlet. At RSBN, we deliver the truth when the mainstream media falls short. Since 2015, we've proudly broadcasted every single one of President Trump's iconic MAGA rallies, bringing you the excitement and energy live before anyone else. By watching RSBN, you get an unfiltered front row view of the action on the ground. We interview the crowds to give a voice to millions of Americans just like you. We show you President Trump's speeches in their entirety, free from interruptions and censorship. We cover the stories that matter to you with the integrity and passion you deserve. Thank you for choosing RSBN as your home for America First news. Together, we stand strong, united, and informed. So join us and be part of the right side of history.
MyPillow's second annual mega sale is finally here. Get our patented premium MyPillows that adjust your exact individual needs to give you the best sleep of your life.
When I got my pillow, I'm asleep almost immediately. I stay asleep at night and I wake up more well rested in the morning.
I guarantee they're going to be the most comfortable pillows you'll ever own. King size only $24.98, queen size only $19.98. Giza Dream bed sheets, the best sheets in history, as low as $29.98. Luxpier's 6-piece towel sets, towels that actually dry you. What a concept. Now only $39.98. And our made in the USA mattresses and mattress toppers as low as $99.98. So go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to take advantage of our second annual mega sale. Plus free shipping options available when you order today. So don't delay, order now.
Welcome back to Right Side Broadcasting Network. We're going to get to some of those White House task force details in just a second here, but let's go to a couple of our sponsors in the meantime. Kalshi.com/RSBN. Of course, 3 ways to get to Kalshi. Kalshi.com/RSBN, the QR code, or just download the app. And once you get to Kalshi, you're going to see all sorts of questions on there where people are betting, trading, or checking out polls. And if your thing is politics, well, you came to the right place, of course. Check it out. Politics, elections, all sorts of questions from will the Save America Act pass? Will the Strait of Hormuz be open or closed? All the different kinds of things that people are talking about on there. You can check it out if you'd like. More than 1 million users on Kalshi, that number growing and really becoming a little bit of a polling site as well, which is pretty cool to see. Kalshi.com/RSBN. Let's also go to our next sponsor. Of course, it's Cove Pure. Most of us know there's chlorine in our tap water. We smell it sometimes shrug and drink it anyway because we've been told it's what keeps our water safe. But what they don't tell you is what chlorine becomes after it's added to your water. And that's why it's so important to filter your water through Cove Pure, because chlorine itself isn't even the biggest problem. Chlorine levels in your water are regulated, but what's not regulated is chemicals that form when chlorine reacts with naturally occurring organic matter from rivers, soil, and plant matter. So when chlorine interacts with those particles, we're told it creates chemical byproducts called those THMs. The government itself calls THMs probable human carcinogens, and they've been linked to disruption of your gut and also to cancer. Those pitcher filters you get at the store, they just won't fix this. They improve the taste of chlorine by masking it, but THMs require something far more powerful. And that's exactly what Cove Pure is. Their Clearwave reverse osmosis technology is certified to remove up to 99.9% of contaminants. It's not just chlorine or THMs. Fluoride, PFAs, pharmaceuticals, all get taken out of there. So if it isn't water, Cove Pure removes it. And this thing doesn't take much room at all. You can see it on the kitchen counter there. It's simply put on the counter, plug it in. Don't need to call someone in to install it. The best thing about Cove Pure is it lets you choose whatever temperature you want. So no more waiting for the kettle to boil to make a cup of tea or coffee. Just tap a button, you get hot, cold, or warm water instantly. The feedback on Cove Pure from our viewers has been incredible because people have told us they literally can taste the difference. Clean water is one of the best investments you can make for you and your family's health. So right now, they're giving RSBN viewers, all of our viewers here, $250 off. So covepure.com/RSBN. Again, covepure.com/RSBN. All right, so let's quickly look at the upcoming presidential schedule. On Friday, President Trump holds his 13th cabinet meeting of his second administration. That'll be on the road at Camp David. On September 9th and 10th, the RNC midterm national convention. On September 24th, the Chinese President Xi Jinping will visit the White House. Now, if you're just joining us, I was talking about the Save America Act and how the media didn't cover President Trump's national primetime address and all of the receipts and all of the facts and the truth of what happened in that 2020 election. Unfortunately, I had to hear President Trump say the other day make it too big to rig. He goes, you remember that saying from back in the day? We're talking about the midterms now, make it too big to rig. I'm sure President Trump doesn't want to have to say that. That's my guess. We don't want to hear the word rigging in elections in America, let alone the rest of the world, but our country. So let's go to clip 10 here in the sense of just a logo of the White House Government Transparency Task Force has released the following fact sheet approved by the directors of the Office of the Director of National Intelligence, the National Security Agency, the Central Intelligence Agency, the Department of Homeland Security, relating to President Donald J. Trump's recent declassification of documents. These documents were originally produced by elements of the United States intel community. Here's a fact, according to the White House. I have these details here that I'd like to share with you. The People's Republic of China and their proxies bought, stole, or hacked as many as 220 million Americans' voter registration data. China's collection included non-publicly available data. Another fact, the declassified documents provide the official definition used by the intelligence community for quote-unquote election interference. That definition includes a foreign power's targeting of voter registration infrastructure or data. The White House Government Transparency Task Force saying the definition from the documents, again, is election influence includes overt or covert influence activities of foreign governments or actors serving as agents of or on behalf of foreign governments intended to affect directly or indirectly a U.S. election, including candidates, political parties, voters or their preferences or political processes or processes. Election interference is a subset of election influence targeted at the technical aspects of the election, including voter registration, casting and counting of ballots, and reporting of results. Another fact, the intel community in 2022 flagged a Chinese computer network exploitation, specifically CNE, a computer network exploitation, a Chinese actor, as having acquired voter registration data stored on commercial websites. CNE actors typically use cyber activities to illicitly obtain data that is not publicly available. Another fact, the intelligence community documents describe the potential malign activities a foreign power can activate once it possesses American voter registration data. Here's a verbatim quote from the documents. Adversaries could alter data to potentially prevent individual voters or groups of voters from voting, causing delays on election day or forcing voters to use provisional ballots. Adversaries could also use the registration data, which in some cases is also available publicly or for purchase, to tailor other interference or influence efforts. Another fact from the White House Task Force, the White House Government Transparency Task Force. Fact, in preparing President Trump's July 16, 2026 speech on China's election interference, the White House coordinated with representatives from the Office of the Director of National Intelligence, the Department of Homeland Security, the Central Intelligence Agency, the National Security Agency, and the Federal Bureau of Investigation. The intelligence agencies approved the factual statements from their documents used in the president's speech. So this is something that is simply a press release from the White House, and most likely not read word for word verbatim like that, in probably 90% of national, local, and international media. Why? Why is this guy named Matthew Alvarez on RSBN, why is he reading it word for word? Because we're on the right side of history, and maybe some of the other conservative networks have done it great because we're on the same team. But I wanted to read it because this is the foundation of the future of our nation, as in a new rebirth of sorts, to continue our freedom for the next 250 years. I would almost want to replay this broadcast in 2032. Wherever we all are in that year. What will our country look like? Will it be that fierce, strong, land of the free, home of the brave, the fighting spirit of America. We the people, the Constitution, loving God, family, country, our freedoms, our constitutional rights that we so love and adore in some places. You know, I adore freedom of speech. It's amazing. Freedom of the press, freedom of religion, not freedom from religion, but freedom of religion. They can't force us to say, you have to worship this way. Maybe someday in the future in the kingdom of God, though, with Jesus, but that's a whole nother story. Or will it be the other side? Who knows? But this is what President Trump's doing. This is what the RNC is doing. This is what many across the country are doing to solidify, secure, and bring safety to these elections. An open, free, honest election system. But we know, unfortunately, there's this C word, corruption, that tends to happen. So, what can we do? Now would be a great time, if I wanted to. I don't have the number there anymore, that 202 number to John Thune's office, and give him a call and just leave a message there. Because we as citizens have that right to ask our senators, our Republican Senate, to pass the Save America Act. But again, every time I say that, it makes me think of the fact that we don't have enough support to nuke the filibuster. It is, I mean, what are we going to do? So you fight for your freedom, right? Legally, lawfully, and spiritually. All right, so we're going to go to a statement here, and then I'm going to go to our sponsors. A few statements from 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue regarding our elections. Of course, for years, fake news and other bad actors tried to convince you that we had safe and secure elections when that clearly wasn't reality. America must continue to fight for honest elections and properly functioning voting systems. Our nation depends on it. These are all words from 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. Stuff that you guys may have already seen on X, Truth Social, out of the president's mouth on Truth Social by his posts, and a number of other people that are really wanting to see this pass. Let's go to a few sponsors in the meantime as we await the president at about 1:30 Eastern Time. This is one of our sponsors here on Right Side, freeusadoggift.com. You see there the kids' guide to the Founders Furry Friends. They also have another guide. I believe it's called the kids' guide to the Founders Furry Friends, but also, let me look for it here. I've got a screen behind the camera. The kids' guide to the Founders Message for Today. Two great guides there you guys can get for free. And there's a number of other guides, I'm sure, on there. Go to freeusadoggift.com. freeusadoggift.com, one of our great sponsors on Right Side. Let's go to our next one here on Right Side. Not really a sponsor, but if you'd like to donate to the network, rsbnetwork.com/donate. And thank you to those that have donated over the past few broadcasts, including that one in Marietta, Georgia. I believe we had some of the donations online. Also, July 3rd, when Megan Kohler was out there at Mount Rushmore. July 4th, we had our Independence Day coverage, of course. President Trump's national primetime address, big viewership on various days. And regardless if it's big or not, it gets replayed a lot. A lot of people see it all over the place. But the point is, to those of you that watch day in and day out, thank you so much for being a part of the RSBN family. And I know that you guys are the ones that would say you've either been to a rally right there. Maybe you saw Vice President Vance. Maybe you stood in those lines right there. Maybe you were interviewed by us here on Right Side. This is a legitimate God, family, country thing we got going on here, and we appreciate all of you guys a lot. So thank you so much for watching. Let's take a quick commercial break. We'll be right back here on Right Side.
It's Silk from Diamond and Silk Chit Chat Live. Look, don't forget to watch my show right here at Right Side Broadcasting Network, and I want you to support Right Side Broadcasting Network. It's imperative that you do so, okay? Bye-bye.
Welcome to Right Side Broadcasting Network, your trusted conservative news outlet. At RSBN, we deliver the truth when the mainstream media falls short. Since 2015, we've proudly broadcasted every single one of President Trump's iconic MAGA rallies, bringing you the excitement and energy live before anyone else. By watching RSBN, you get an unfiltered front row view of the action on the ground. We interview the crowds to give a voice to millions of Americans just like you. We show you President Trump's speeches in their entirety, free from interruptions and censorship. We cover the stories that matter to you with the integrity and passion you deserve. Thank you for choosing RSBN as your home for America First News. Together, we stand strong, united, and informed. So join us and be part of the right side of history.
MyPillow's second annual mega sale is finally here. Get our patented premium MyPillows that adjust your exact individual needs to give you the best sleep of your life.
When I got my pillow, I'm asleep almost immediately. I stay asleep at night and I wake up more well-rested in the morning.
I guarantee they're going to be the most comfortable pillows you'll ever own. King size only $24.98, queen size only $19.98. Giza Dream bed sheets, the best sheets in history, as low as $29.98. Lux Pier 6-piece towel sets, towels that actually dry you. What a concept. Now only $39.98. And our made in the USA mattresses and mattress toppers as low as $99.98. So go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to take advantage of our second annual mega sale. Plus free shipping options available when you order today. So don't delay, order now.
And also, for those of you that have been with us for the past few minutes here, I was talking about being grateful for all of our viewers. Also, speaking of grateful, for the Seals family, management, and production staff here at Right Side Broadcasting Network. You know, this is not a massive, huge corporation with satellite dishes on buildings and, you know, a 7-story thing in Atlanta or something. You know what I mean? This is grassroots. This is we the people. It's awesome stuff. It's good to be a part of conservative media where it's not sold out to some woke corporation, that kind of thing. You know what I mean? Very good stuff. And again, thank God for the conservative media just uprising that's happening out there. You have conservative media and you have liberal media, and then you make your choice. So, good stuff. All right, Director, do we have a couple sponsors right this second, or could we go to clip number 5? All right. So the question is, what does the former director of the Department of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, think about Anthony Fauci's Senate so-called testimony yesterday? Let's check out clip number 5.
Before the COVID pandemic, Dr. Fauci, as head of the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases, provided millions in U.S. taxpayer dollars to fund dangerous gain-of-function research on bat coronaviruses at the Wuhan Institute of Virology, work which is now widely viewed as the source of the unintentional lab leak that sparked the pandemic. Now, in support of President Trump's maximum transparency mandate, today, on my final day as Director of National Intelligence, I'm releasing never-before-seen communications and documents that expose exactly how Fauci worked with politicized career leadership in the intelligence community to suppress the truth about his actions, the virus's lab leak origins, and his role in directing U.S. funding for this dangerous research that caused immeasurable harm and countless lost lives. Now, these documents expose Fauci's direct role in influencing and manipulating IC assessments on COVID-19 and how Fauci lied to Congress in 2024 when under oath he denied knowledge of or participation in discussions with intelligence officials about viral research. We also received testimony from multiple intelligence community whistleblowers who reported retaliation for challenging the intelligence community's manipulation of intelligence on the virus's origins, once again revealing a clear pattern of suppressing dissent, silencing critics, and burying the truth. Dr. Fauci's close relationships with the intelligence community enabled him to assume 3 key roles that shield him from scrutiny. First, Dr. Fauci funded dangerous gain-of-function coronavirus research linked to Big Pharma and their pursuit of universal vaccines, worth trillions of dollars. Second, Dr. Fauci was the behind-the-scenes advisor who, alongside his hand-picked so-called experts, pushed the intelligence community to endorse a natural animal origin to hide his dangerous gain-of-function research that he funded using taxpayer dollars, all of this in a deliberate attempt to cover up the truth and shift the blame and attention away from Fauci's own actions. Third, Dr. Fauci became the nation's pandemic pundit, and he publicly pushed lies, disinformation, and censorship using every platform available. Now, according to hundreds of reviewed emails, which are included in this release, the intelligence community almost always incorporated Fauci's recommendations. He promoted a fraudulent paper whose publication he helped prompt as legitimate information for intelligence community consideration. Senior analysts praised Dr. Fauci not as a policymaker, but as what they called an unbiased guide to the real coronavirus experts, while deliberately ignoring experts who might dissent from Fauci's narratives. Now, Fauci didn't stop there. He blatantly lied to Congress under oath during his 2024 testimony to the House Select Subcommittee on the Coronavirus Pandemic, denying that he ever spoke to any intelligence agency about COVID. Now, the correspondence I'm releasing today directly contradicts his sworn testimony. Now, we received statements from multiple whistleblowers revealing that the intelligence analysts who dared to challenge Dr. Fauci's COVID origin conclusions faced threats of retaliation, marginalization, and many suffered career setbacks. For example, a contractor was terminated just days after coming forward to ODNI as a whistleblower. Another example, those who advocated for the lab leak hypothesis or expressed dissenting views were reminded by their managers that leadership would determine which analysts would be promoted and which would not. The message was clear: go along or be punished. Senior leaders also sought to undermine whistleblowers by removing anonymity, which is required in the whistleblower process, as they made their complaints, and also insisting that their managers or attorneys be present during ODNI meetings where these whistleblowers were coming forward with their testimony, obviously creating an atmosphere of intimidation. The COVID pandemic caused tremendous hardship and pain for millions of our fellow Americans and countless people around the world. Now, after years of lies and censorship and cover-ups, the American people deserve transparency, truth, and accountability. The tactics that were used to hide the truth are straight from the deep state playbook. Politicized, self-serving leaders like Dr. Fauci covered up their own wrongdoing and abuses of power, manipulated intelligence, lied to Congress, and undermined a duly elected president by restricting his access to the vital facts he needed to keep the country safe. It's time you know the truth.
And then, of course, Anthony Fauci pleads fifth 111 times yesterday. Let's go to All Family Pharmacy. Great work there by Tulsi Gabbard, of course, as we see. allfamilypharmacy.com/RSBN. Let's go to the fact that you've probably been hearing about that cyclospora parasite. It's been making headlines lately, and health officials are investigating this growing outbreak that has now been reported in more than half of our states, so 31 states. The parasite can cause severe diarrhea, stomach cramps, nausea, and fatigue. It's also a good reminder that unexpected illnesses can happen, which is why it's important to have a pharmacy you can count on for easy access to essential medications and physicians that can provide a prescription when you need it. That's where All Family Pharmacy comes in. They've made healthcare simple. You can order medications on their website and get the prescription from their doctors if needed. Then your medications are shipped directly to your door. And they offer antibiotics like Bactim. It's Bactim. This is commonly recommended for this infection, along with antiparasitic medications, everyday maintenance medications, allergy medications, and hundreds of other prescriptions. So just visit allfamilypharmacy.com/RSBN or go to the QR code, or you can give them a call, 561-717-6794. 3 ways to get to allfamilypharmacy.com/RSBN. And don't forget to use that 10% promo code, RSBN10. Let's go from All Family Pharmacy to Birch Gold Group. Of course, we wouldn't be celebrating America 250 if it wasn't for a strong foundation set by the framers. Alexander Hamilton built America's financial foundation on the principle of sound, stable money, a principle later embodied by the gold standard. However, we abandoned that discipline in 1971 and have since seen inflation erode the dollar's value. So the question is, what is the foundation of your savings? Is it gold or something that can be shaken, disrupted, or devalued? Now, Birch Gold Group has been helping Americans solidify their savings with gold for the past 15 years. They'll help you convert an existing IRA or 401k into a tax-sheltered IRA in gold. Learn how gold fits into your portfolio by texting the word Trump to that number 989898. You'll receive that free, no-obligation info kit. With an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau and countless 5-star reviews, let Birch Gold help build your foundation with gold. All you have to do is text that word Trump to 989898, and that gets the ball rolling as we are 10 minutes after the hour. Thanks again for joining us here on Right Side Broadcasting Network. At 1:30, the president makes an announcement on freedom haulers. If you're just joining us, let's go back to clip number 1. This is something we played at 12 o'clock Eastern when our pre-show started. So thanks again for watching. Let's go to clip number 1 for now.
Are you a veteran and not an illegal alien?
Yippee-ki-yay.
Did you drive things like this? Or this? Maybe even this? You drove the toughest roads on Earth, defending our freedoms.
Stick around.
Why not get paid to drive on ours?
You show me a pay stub for $72,000 on it, I quit my job right now.
How about 6 figures? Become a freedom hauler.
You ever think about that? I like it.
We like it too.
It's a real blessing.
And we're blowing up fraud. We want you on the front lines. Your road, your rules. Make your own hours, your schedule.
You sure about that?
Oh, we're sure.
Keep talking.
And did I mention medical benefits and sign-on bonuses? Training costs are completely covered for veterans because our heroes treat safety like a mission and rack up more miles doing it. Best part? You'll be on the road in a few weeks.
It's happening! Everybody stay calm!
What are you waiting for?
You can do it!
Your next mission deploys now.
For decades, getting a CDL, the commercial license you actually need to pilot an 80,000-pound big rig down the highway, was a total flip of a coin. One path was totally legit. The other path? Kapow! Pure Wild West chaos. Meet Honest Hank. Hank wanted to earn his CDL the right way. First, Hank studied hard and earned his commercial learner's permit. Then Hank attended a federally certified CDL training school. Then came the final road test, vehicle inspection, backing test, real highway driving. And after all that hard work, Hank officially earned his CDL. Then, there's Problem Pete. Back under Biden and Buttigieg, Problem Pete found an easier way. Instead of real training, shady operators exploited the outdated system with little oversight. Then came the DMV process. Some states offered CDL testing in over 25 languages. They skipped foreign background checks and handed out long-term licenses to people whose work authorization had already expired. That's no bueno. Honest Hank earned his CDL under his real legal name. Problem Pete? Not so much. And once they hit the road, oh my, the difference became terrifyingly obvious. Honest Hank maintained a safe, clean truck and followed the law. Problem Pete's truck looked like it was held together with duct tape and bad decisions. Hank followed road signs carefully. Pete couldn't read them at all. When Pete did get busted for safety violations, he had a shady trick up his sleeve, transforming into a chameleon carrier. He'd get shut down by inspectors and magically reopen under a brand new name almost overnight. Honest Hank obeyed mandatory rest periods. Problem Pete rewound his driving logs like an old VHS tape. Thankfully, it's the end of the road for Problem Pete. Yes, sir. Because when President Trump got elected again, he promised to make America safe again. So he and Secretary Sean Duffy, they devised a plan to restore integrity to our trucking system and protect you and your family on our American roads.
Desk job, a spreadsheet. You don't belong in a cubicle. You belong behind a different kind of horsepower, one that still serves your country, one that you've already trained for, because you treat safety like a mission. We need you to finish the job. Join now.
All right, so that Freedom Haulers event happening in about 15 minutes from now, maybe a little bit earlier. Who knows? We'll see what happens here on Right Side Broadcasting Network. Also, there is a DOJ press conference happening about fraud, so we're going to go to some of those clips here shortly. Meantime, let's get ready to go to clip number 7 because the Save America Act isn't going away. Just ask Utah Senator Mike Lee.
Mr. President, this issue isn't going away. The Save America Act isn't going away. Voter ID requirement demands are not going away. I will be back day after day, week after week until this passes. Because the American people deserve to go to bed every night knowing that their government is run by people they themselves elected. Not foreign nationals. They don't want a government that has been chosen with significant foreign influence in our elections. There was a time, Mr. President, when the Democrats in this august chamber, a time not so very long ago indeed, spoke of little else other than their fear of foreign election interference. Mr. President, if we don't face a real challenge as to foreign election interference right now, as long as we are not passing the Save America Act or its key components, it would appear that those who are against this are just fine now with foreign election interference. The American people shouldn't be. Because again, it's not free. When somebody else votes who's not who they claim to be, when somebody else votes claiming to be a citizen and they're not a citizen, it robs hardworking Americans, actual American citizens, of their most sacred, their most fundamental right, their right to vote. No, Mr. President, we can't look the other way. Nor do we, in my view, have any business taking a 6-week recess until such time as we've done everything humanly possible to get these reforms put into law. This will not disappear simply because we leave. The cavalry's not coming. We are the cavalry. There are no house elves who will come in and fix our election security problems. So let's get this done, and for the love of all that is sacred and holy, let's not go on a 6-week recess with all of this undone. The American people deserve better.
All right, Senator Mike Lee out of Utah, always on that Senate floor saying, hey, you know what? We might want to stay here for this so-called August recess, get the Save America Act passed, and then, go enjoy, celebrate the fact that the Save America law is in place. That would be great, right? Man, well, we'll see what happens. And it's not just playing TV by saying that and covering the Save America Act. We really want this to be done, as you guys do too, at least the majority of the country, massive majority. Anyway, let's go to Kalshi.com/RSBN. Speaking of the Save America Act, will it pass? Will it not? People are betting, trading, checking out the polls right there on Kalshi. You can download the app, you can go to QR code, or you can go to Kalshi.com/RSBN. Great sponsor here on Right Side Broadcasting Network, as a million people plus are on this site. That number is continually growing. This is a company I believe is going to be around for quite some time. Kalshi.com/RSBN. Great sponsor here on Right Side Broadcasting Network. As I mention all the time, 3 ways to get to Kalshi: QR code, website, app. Kalshi.com/RSBN. Let's go to our next sponsor here on Right Side. You see CovePier.com/RSBN as well. Most of us know there's chlorine in our tap water. We smell it. Sometimes we shrug and we drink it anyway because we've been told, hey, it's what keeps our water safe. But what they don't tell you is what chlorine becomes after it's added to your water, and that's why it's so important to filter your water through CovePier. Chlorine itself isn't even the biggest problem. Chlorine levels in your water are regulated, but what's not regulated is chemicals that form when chlorine reacts with naturally occurring organic matter from rivers, soil, and plant matter. So when chlorine interacts with those particles, we're told it creates a chemical byproduct or byproducts called THMs. The government itself calls THMs probable human carcinogens. They've been linked to disruption of your gut and also to cancer. So those pitcher filters that you see at the store, they just won't fix this. They improve the taste of chlorine, they mask it, but THMs require something far more powerful, and that's exactly what Cove Pure is. They have this clear wave reverse osmosis technology. It's also certified to remove up to 99.9% of contaminants, and it's not just chlorine or THMs. Fluoride, PFAs, pharmaceuticals, it gets kicked right out of that water. So all you have is water that tastes good. It's much better for you than all the stuff that's added to tap water. And this thing doesn't take up much room at all. Of course, you just put it right there on your kitchen counter. You just plug it in. You don't have to call anybody to install it. The best part about Cove Pure is it lets you choose whatever temperature water you want. So that filtered water comes out hot, cold, or warm. And you can just tap a button and you get that. So the feedback on Cove Pure from our viewers has been incredible. And people have told us that they can literally taste the difference. Clean water. I was going to say clear water, but that's the same difference actually. Clean and clear water is one of the best investments you can make for you and your family's health. Right now, they're giving RSBN viewers $250 off if you use our link, covepure.com/RSBN. covepure.com/RSBN. We're going to get to a few clips in just a minute from the DOJ regarding fraud, in the sense of fraud uncovered. But let's go to Arizona first. Arizona Representative and hopefully soon-to-be Governor Andy Biggs is calling out the current governor of the state, Katie Hobbs, on her hypocrisy. Let's check out clip number 8.
Mike, she's running an ad saying that she reduced utility rates. Is there anybody in this state says, hey, my utility bills are down since Katie Hobbs became governor? No, nobody says that. Or the no tax on tips things. I mean, you have to point out where she's deceiving the people right now. I mean, no tax on tips, she vetoed it 3 times. And finally, I think it's because she knew she was going to be running against me, and I actually helped get that no tax on tips through with the one big beautiful bill that she had to say this. But these things aren't exactly true.
So obviously Governor Biggs ideally will be called Governor Biggs on November 4th after he went on November 3rd speaking on a podcast show, I assume out there in Arizona. Yeah, Katie Hobbs, what a real winner. Same thing with Pritzker and Newsom and AOC, and the list goes on. I don't know, is it just that they're straight evil, or is it that they're just brainwashed? They're good people, maybe good-hearted people, but they got brainwashed? Because I know some people like that. I don't know. Have you ever worked with someone that, and this is back in the day, that is, they're funny, they're a good person, hang out with people and have a good time and all that. But then their politics suck. Their politics are way off. How does that happen? It's the education system, the media system. I know I'm preaching to the choir, but man, we got to free the mind here. Anyway, the southern border, the northern border, the open sea. Customs and Border Protection works with various partners to protect our borders. Let's take a look at a video from the Customs Border Protection Commissioner, Rodney Scott, clip number 9.
This is probably one of the biggest threats on the northern border.
Cocaine north, designer drugs, marijuana south, bodies north and south.
It's the complex geography in the area. It's the jurisdictional issues. It's the river and the remote areas that we have around that. That is our threat in the area.
Looking at the international boundary, I still can't see out into the St. Lawrence. I don't know what's going on, even if I do float a boat.
Just the appearance and the deterrence.
I tell people all the time, law enforcement in general, but especially border security, it's a team sport. You got to have everybody playing together.
Some great patriots out there on the open sea, northern border, southern border, keeping this country away from having all of that influx, those caravans of people that spilled in and just walked in under the Biden regime. I had one of our production crew, one of our top production crew, of course, here at the network. All of them are the top, but the point is he's been here the longest, I think. sent me a video from Morocco and Spain and how all these migrants are just flooding into Spain, and it's just this awful thing to see. It reminds me of Eagle Pass, Texas, when you saw all of the immigrants going up across the border into Texas. So yeah, but great to see that we have Customs Border Protection and Patrol and the military and all of that. We may get to some of this DOJ press conference about fraud in just a second, but let's go to All Family Pharmacy as we await the president at the Oval Office. You've probably been hearing about that Cyclospora parasite making headlines lately. Health officials have been investigating this growing outbreak that has now been reported in 31 states. The parasite can cause severe diarrhea, stomach cramps, nausea, fatigue. It's also a good reminder that unexpected illnesses can happen, which is why it's important to have a pharmacy you can count on for easy access to essential medications and physicians that can provide a prescription when you need it. That's where All Family Pharmacy comes in. They've made healthcare simple. You can order medications on their website, get the prescription from their doctors, then your medications are shipped directly to your door. You just fill out a short medical form. They offer antibiotics like Bactrim, which is commonly recommended for the Cyclospora parasite. They have also other antiparasitic medications, everyday maintenance medications, allergy medications, and hundreds of other prescriptions. Visit allfamilypharmacy.com/RSBN. Get that 10% off with the RSBN 10 promo code. You have that number right there, 561-717-6794. You can call, ask questions as needed. You can also use the QR code to get right to that website, allfamilypharmacy.com/RSBN. Let's go from All Family to Birch Gold. Of course, we wouldn't be celebrating America 250 if it wasn't for a strong foundation set by the framers. Alexander Hamilton built America's financial foundation on the principle of sound, stable money, a principle later embodied by the gold standard. However, we abandoned that discipline in 1971 and have since seen inflation erode the dollar's value. So what is the foundation of your savings? Is it gold or something that can be shaken or disrupted or devalued? Birch Gold Group has been helping Americans solidify their savings with gold for the past 15 years. They'll help you convert an existing IRA or 401k into a tax-sheltered IRA in gold. Learn how gold fits into your portfolio by texting the word Trump to the number 989898. You'll receive a free no-obligation info kit. They have that A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau and countless 5-star reviews. Let Birch Gold help build your foundation with gold. Just text the word Trump to that number, 989898. We're approaching the bottom of the hour. That means we're about to see the president because that's the 1:30 scheduled start time for the Freedom Haulers announcement. Now, if you're just joining us, there are quite the number of videos that the Secretary of Transportation, Sean Duffy, and his team posted about Freedom Haulers. Director, do you think we have time to play clip number 1 before we go to the White House? Okay, then we can go to clip number 2. It's a little bit more brief. This is something that happened just yesterday, having to do with the Secretary of Transportation, Sean Duffy, as well. Let's get that recap video of the Washington Dulles International Airport upgrades as discussed yesterday at the White House as we stand by for more from D.C.
In the arms of the angel, fly away from here, from this dark, cold hotel room, and the endlessness that you fear. You are pulled from the wreckage of your silent reverie. You're in the arms of the angel. May you find.
Pretty funny stuff right there. If you've ever been to Dulles International, yeah, riding those, as Sean Duffy said, the Secretary of Transportation, those Star Wars looking pods, well, sayonara, because there's going to be that new rail system there at Dulles, up there in the Northeast. A lot of people, Virginia, Maryland, Pennsylvania use that airport, even though there is the Reagan D.C. National Airport right there in Washington. right next to the district. Anyway, let's do this as well. As we await this live feed here on Right Side Broadcasting Network, the White House released a video about Anthony Fauci pleading the fifth 111 times yesterday during that Senate hearing. Let's check out that quick video. Again, as we go to these quick, brief videos, as soon as we see the White House live feed pop up, we'll take you right there. But let's go to clip 3 in the meantime.
Well, nothing says honesty like taking the fifth, huh, Doc? What day of the week is it today?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
What color tie are you wearing?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
What color's the carpet in front of you?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
What does the Fifth Amendment of the Constitution say?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment of the Constitution.
Do you have the dignity to just say you're sorry?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment of the Constitution. Respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment of the Constitution.
We're going to see the president any second from now. All you have to do is look at various things to see the Fifth Amendment. He could at least talk a little bit about it. Man, that was a tough day to watch yesterday. Anyway, it's a new day, but wow. Transparency and accountability. We'll see what happens. Anyway, so let's see the president here any second from now. This is all about freedom haulers. The Secretary of Transportation, Sean Duffy, the President of the United States, Donald J. Trump, and others there. And of course, we'll hear from some of the fake news press, and thank God, there are some conservative press there as well. So we're going to hear some of that after this event. It reminds me of yesterday's coverage, but here we go. Let's go to that now.
Ladies and gentlemen, the President of the United States, Donald J. Trump.
And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA.
What a nice song. We thank Lee, right? Lee has been with us from the beginning, so it's great. And thank you all for being here as we take action to get illegal alien truck drivers off the American roadways. We're doing a very strong movement, and we have had such support for this, and replace them with proud American veterans. And it's about time. I want to thank Secretary of Transportation Sean Duffy. He's doing a fantastic job. Secretary of Veterans Affairs Doug Collins, likewise, really doing a good job. 92% approval. That's not bad, Doug. You'll get it up a little bit. Acting Secretary of Labor Keith Sonderling, and along with President of Werner Enterprises Nathan Meisker. Thank you very much, Nathan, and representatives from the American Trucking Association and the Owner-Operators Independent Drivers Association. They're all behind us 100%. I'm behind it 100%. We got to stop it. It's dangerous. It's horrible what's happening. Every day you see another story. We're not going to let that happen. That won't happen with our great vets. But above all, thank you to the amazing veterans with us. I mean, they've just been with us from the day they were born, I suspect. They're great patriots, and we love them. And we want to thank UPS, FedEx, and Werner for the job they've done. Thanks as well to the National Commander of AMVETS, Paul Shipley, Chief Operating Officer of the Independence Fund, Doug Ackerman, and the great patriots from the Wounded Warrior Project, American Legion, Blue Star Families, Gary Sinise Foundation, Vietnam Veterans of America, and Paralyzed Veterans of America. We thank you all, and thank you all for being with us. Very special. Thank you, fellas. Thank you, everybody. For many years, American highways and roadways have been terrorized by unqualified illegal aliens dangerously driving big rigs rigs like that, you got to know something to drive. Wow, that sucker is a big one. That's big stuff. But they're you have to have a knowledge, you have to have a talent for it, and these people don't have that. They're driving big rigs, semi-trucks, and tractor trailers, all because radical left maniacs at the state level have issued them commercial driver's licenses, even though they're not entitled to have them. They don't speak the language for the most part. Many of these illegal aliens don't even come close. They don't want to learn the language. They don't care about the language, and they don't speak it. They don't speak English. They cannot read basic road signs. In many cases, they've engaged in reckless driving that has caused many, many preventable deaths, too many to even talk about. Last August, 3 innocent people were killed in Florida when an illegal alien from India made an unlawful U-turn, blocking all the lanes of the highway and causing a catastrophic crash. It was a disaster. Just a few weeks ago, a Pennsylvania state trooper was killed by an illegal alien from Haiti driving a semi-truck. He was let in by Joe Biden and the open border policy of the Biden administration. By the way, today we have the safest border in the history of our country. And I don't even say this usually, but for the last 14 months, because it's almost unbelievable to say, but the media will correct me if I give anything that's even slightly off. As of 14 months, in the last 14 months, 0 illegal aliens were able to come through our southern border. 0. Last year alone, illegal aliens with commercial driver's licenses caused at least 30 deaths and many, many very seriously injured. As president, I made it our official policy to enforce English language requirements for truck drivers and support American truckers on American roadways. We've already removed more than 24,000 non-English speakers from behind the wheel. We've also forced states to cancel more than 28,000 commercial driver's licenses unlawfully issued to illegal aliens. They were given illegally. As we get illegal aliens off the roads today, we're also taking action to replace these unqualified migrant truck drivers with highly qualified American veterans. Under our brand new Freedom Haulers, we call it Freedom Haulers initiative, any American who has driven a heavy truck for our military will automatically be eligible for a commercial driver's license, and it's good-paying jobs too. Any veteran with a heavy vehicle experience from the military will now be eligible to skip redundant road tests to obtain a commercial driver's license. We're going to make it as easy as possible for the veterans within 2 years following their active duty service. And for the veterans where you have a situation where you have not truck drivers in the military, where you don't have truck drivers, they're going to be given a very quick pass. We're going to teach them. They're going to learn. If they didn't drive a truck in the military, but they're going to learn, and they're going to learn very quickly, and they'll be licensed in a matter of a few weeks, I think it is. They're going to take about 3 or 4 weeks of training. 34 states have joined this initiative, including Indiana, Wyoming, Louisiana, Arkansas, Alabama, Florida, and Maryland are joining us just today. And many of the representatives and leaders from those states are with us. It's actually a very big deal. This is a big deal. We believe that all 50 states and Washington, D.C. should join us in supporting these great veterans. And frankly, some of the states didn't know about it. They heard about it today, and I think they're all going to be signing up. Data shows that truck drivers who are veterans account for 42% fewer accidents. Think of that, 42%. And that number, they say, is a very minimal number, even as they drive the double the number of miles of non-veteran drivers. So to end this, very simply, the radical left wants more jobs for illegal aliens and more migrants in 18-wheelers, and Trump administration wants safer roads and more jobs for the American veteran. Now I'd like to ask a man who's done a fantastic job on this subject and many others, Secretary Duff, would you say a few words, followed by Secretary Collins, Nathan, and a great veteran truck driver, Ricky Washington. And I'll just stand here and watch. Thank you very much. Sean, go ahead.
So thank you, Mr. President. And to underscore your point, President Biden let in millions of illegals into this country. And he thought it would be a good idea that when they come in, they get a job, and they get a job driving a commercial motor vehicle. They didn't have the training. They didn't have the skill. We didn't do background checks in the last administration, so they could have had a mile-long rap sheet of crimes or drunk driving or speeding violations, but we didn't know who they were. And we saw that when those illegals were driving these big rigs, they were killing American citizens. You're a family that was on the way to Walmart, or you're going to church on a Sunday, you could lose your life on an American road. So because of the president's initiative, he signed an executive order over a year ago. It was the common sense rules of the road. And since you signed that executive order, we all have been working overtime to make sure we take illegals off American roads, and we give those jobs to great Americans, including great American veterans. So that's right. These are great paying jobs. They're anywhere from $80,000 to $100,000 plus a year. And it's important because you have men and women who drove big rigs in the military who would then get out and have to go through months-long training for their skills and their knowledge test to drive this vehicle over here. Well, if Secretary Pete Hegseth thinks that you can drive a vehicle like this, Donald Trump and Sean Duffy think that you can drive a vehicle like that. So we have illegals are out, American patriots are in this administration. We've had more people, trucking companies, call us and try to find, how do I hire more veterans? How do I bring the men, the great men and women who serve this country, how do I bring them into my company? So you can go to freedomhaulers.dot.gov to get more information. But we are clearing the deck for you to get a great job in trucking. Mr. President, there's a lot of things that the radical left, as you mentioned, get angry about because they're radical. But safety for the American citizenry is bipartisan. This is not a political issue. This is an American issue. Let's make sure American roads are safe. Let's make sure we put great patriots who serve this country on American roads, well-trained, with great skills. And I think this is one of the great legacies of your administration. I am grateful for your leadership, putting America first, American veterans first, American roads first over the illegals who the last administration prioritized. It has been just an honor to work with you. And to me, he's a master class. To see how this president operates, to watch him and learn from him is amazing. So thank you. I appreciate it, Mr. President.
Thank you, Sean and Mr. President. I can't think of anything else that says freedom more in our country than an open road truck and a veteran. Because you have veterans that said one thing, when they raised their right hand, they pledged what others would not do. They said, I will go and do what others will not do. And it is this country, when you told me, and I asked you that question, I said, Mr. President, what do you want me to do? He said, just take care of my veterans. So every day now, since the last year and a half, veterans at the VA are first and only in what we do. And this. So when Sean and I, we heard about this, and we started looking at this, some things that we have done, Mr. President, you're behind this and working to get veterans on the road. I can't think of anything more American. I can't think of anything that puts us first. Instead of the illegals who want to come take jobs, let's put veterans in the seats, making jobs safer and better for all Americans as we go along. Because veterans, look, you proved once you can do it. I know for a fact you can do it every single day. As we look at this, some of the questions that come, The Wild West is over. So what do? How do we get our veterans into this? Well, one of the things that I want to emphasize is that we're now not only taking you as veterans, the GI Bill is going to be able to pay for this. You're going to be able to actually get and use the money to go get your CDL license. You're able to get this, and we're going to make it a lot easier and a lot quicker. Like I said, for those of us who rode in these, this will be a thrill. So we do that. We're going to use the GI Bill. The Dole Act also did something that's really important. That was the CDL programs. It used to take almost 2 years to get in. We're now waiving that to where the CDL and disability, service-connected disabilities, can get in that instead of having to wait the 2 years. So we're actually putting into place what is already there and saying, you know what, we're going to make it easier for our veterans to do this. Our VR&E programs are already ready to train veterans to go take these jobs as we go forward. But as we go forward, let me just emphasize one thing already, Mr. President. 1 in 10 of our truck drivers across the country are veterans already. 1 in 10. Why don't we make it 2 in 10? Why don't we make it 3 in 10? For those who want to get out and serve this country, who want to be the leaders and be the safety experts who drove these to drive these, will drive us as Americans in the future. We couldn't do this without a great partnership with the cabinet and our partners in the business community as we go forward. But I'm here to also tell you, you can't do it without a president who doesn't look at what can't be. He looks at what can be. And Donald Trump has said when it comes to transportation and safety and keeping illegals off the road, but also putting our veterans first, you have a president who not only says it, but he does it, and we're here today to prove it. God bless you.
I would like to thank President Trump for inviting us all here today. It is a profound honor to stand with you here at the White House, along with the brave veterans, the military leaders, and cabinet members, in the same month that we celebrated the 250th anniversary of our great country. If I could take a moment, for those of you that are at a camera and facing this way, there are hundreds of veterans here today. And I feel like we owe it to the veterans who have sacrificed. The saying is that all gave some and some gave all. And I would like to take a moment for all of us to thank the people behind the camera and the men here for their service. As President Trump said, I am Nathan Maiskeier. I'm the president of Werner Enterprises. Werner is one of America's largest, safest, and most successful transportation companies. This year, Werner proudly celebrates 7 decades of keeping the American economy moving. And after all, 75% of all freight in America moves by a truck. At Werner, 15% of our 14,000 associates nationwide are veterans and military spouses, a statistic that we're proud of. Today, I am proud to announce a new strategic initiative for our company. In tandem with the Trump administration's Freedom Haulers program, Werner Enterprises is officially committing to hire 1,400 veterans in the coming year. This administration's Freedom Haulers campaign will have a direct and powerful impact on our ability to bring even more veterans into our workforce and into this great trucking economy. Cutting through red tape and translating a veteran's military driving experience directly into a civilian commercial driver's license. Veterans at Werner often move up the ranks into roles as driver leaders, and many serve as premier road team captains, mentoring the next generation of drivers and representing the absolute best of American trucking. We should all commit to ensure that every veteran returning home is met not just with handshakes and hugs and applause, but real opportunities to lead, drive, and succeed. Thank you again to President Trump and all of the members of the Trump administration who support our heroes and these pro-veteran initiatives. May God bless our veterans, may God bless our leaders, and may God bless America. Thank you.
My fellow Americans, Mr. President, and distinguished guests, it is an honor to stand with you today. For 30 years of service, I have the privilege of wearing the uniform of the United States Army and the Army National Guard. Like so many who have answered the call, my service took me through moments of hardships and sacrifices. I reflect on which I carry with me every day. Serving this nation was an honor, but when the time came to take the uniform off, I faced the question veterans confront. How do I continue serving? For me, the answer was on the open road. Transition from military life behind the wheel of a commercial truck has brought a renewed sense of mission for me. Veterans make exceptional truck drivers because they have the core values of the military aligned seamlessly with the trucking industry. We're disciplined, we're vigilant, we're adaptable, and with unwavering commitment to getting the job done safely and on time. The trucking industry is more than just a sector of our economy. It is the backbone of our commerce. It is a place where service members, veterans, military spouse can find a purpose, a community, and a way to continue keeping our great nation moving forward. Thank you, Mr. President. God bless our service members and their family, and God bless the United States of America.
Anybody like to say anything? I just want to thank everybody for being here. This is going to be a big day for our wonderful patriots, our great veterans. They're going to produce like nobody else can produce. And thank you very much. And I want to thank you and especially all those people you're going to be hiring. But I know a lot of your competitors are also doing the same thing. So it's going to be really fantastic. Sean, thank you. Thank you, Doug. Thank you, everybody, for the job you've done very much. Bye. Thank you.
Thank you, President.
All right, so the president speaking about freedom haulers today. I'm wearing this hat, of course. I like A-frame trucker hats. A shout out to all of the truckers, a shout out to the veterans out there. And you know what? Before we wrap our broadcast, we're going to go to a few more clips here on right side. Let's go to the DOJ fraud clip that has been making its rounds on social media.
Good afternoon. My name is Colin McDonald, Assistant Attorney General for the National Fraud Enforcement Division at the Department of Justice. 115 days ago, based on the vision of President Trump and Vice President Vance, Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche announced the creation of the Fraud Division at the Department of Justice. And in the last 115 days, the DOJ has announced hundreds of major fraud enforcement actions across the country, including prosecutions against fraudsters targeting billions of taxpayer dollars meant to support our needy, sick, and elderly. That is our core mission, to protect taxpayer dollars and stop the brazen theft of America's wealth and generosity. Now, to achieve this mission requires all hands on deck, a dedicated coalition of state and federal public servants committed to guarding taxpayer dollars like they guard their own bank accounts. And today, with these folks behind me, we're putting fraudsters on notice that many hands have joined the deck, and we are at our stations to join the fight against fraud. In addition to our gracious host, the governor of the great state of South Carolina, with me today are U.S. attorneys, state attorneys general, secretaries of state, state treasurers, auditors, directors, inspectors general, the FBI, HSI, and other partners from 7 different states across the Southeast. These partnerships are critical to solving our nationwide fraud epidemic. Just today, the Fraud Division signed data sharing agreements with 10 state agencies represented here across 6 states to formalize our shared commitment to the responsible sharing of publicly available corporate registration and government's benefits payment data for early fraud detection. This is an operational partnership, faster access to critical data, and joint work streams that enable us to move quickly when fraud indicators emerge. That speed matters. Every day we cut between detection and disruption and imprisonment protects taxpayer dollars and strengthens the integrity of our federal and state programs. Beyond the data streams that are now starting to flow, we are forging more and better relationships with our state partners. For example, in North Carolina, Federal prosecutors are working directly with state program leaders responsible for overseeing federally funded programs, searching for criminals committing Medicaid, SNAP, and daycare fraud. These same prosecutors have created a channel for the North Carolina Department of Insurance to directly refer fraud cases involving illegal aliens who are defrauding the American taxpayer. The Northern District of Mississippi, represented today, has formed a fraud task force comprised of various federal and state stakeholders. The Northern, Middle, and Southern Districts of Florida have done the same with the Florida Anti-Fraud Task Force to protect public benefits programs. This is a historic collaboration in Florida from Tallahassee to Miami to attack fraudsters who exploit SNAP, unemployment benefits, and other taxpayer-funded programs. In addition to these partnerships, the DOJ is announcing today that since the 4th of July, our southeastern U.S. attorneys' offices have charged 12 additional defendants with defrauding taxpayer-funded programs. These cases reach over $90 million in intended losses.
This is music to my ears, General, to hear that the President and the Attorney General, Acting Attorney General, and all involved have determined to make this a national effort based on a partnership. Now, the important part is not that the crime exists, not that it's outrageous, not that it should not be there, but that you have decided to use a partnership, a federal-state partnership. Why do I say that? We did the same thing under the direction of Ronald Reagan back in the early 1980s. His message to us at that time, I was a new U.S. attorney, was to go find those bringing the drugs into the country. And so we set out here to do just that. And what did we do? We put together a partnership. We put together a team. It was the State Law Enforcement Division and the local authorities, and the FBI, DEA, Customs Patrol, ATF, the Criminal Investigative Division of the Internal Revenue Service, and I said the mighty State Law Enforcement Division. It was a full team. They operated out of the same office. They had the authority to work under the supervision of the U.S. Attorney, which made it easy. And it was a statewide effort. And they used a different method. Besides having a partnership with equal members on the team, they used the financial method, the one that got Al Capone. He was indicted and convicted, I believe, on tax evasion, not his other criminal enterprises. Well, we followed the money, and we followed through mortgages, the lack of mortgages on expensive property being bought in resort areas, on people without any money that were going in and buying brand new Mercedeses and things like that with cash money pulled out of a brown paper bag out of the trunk of the old car, those kind of things. There was enormous money. But ladies and gentlemen, because of the partnership, because of the exchange of information, a bit of information that one agent that meant nothing to him but might have meant something to her, we were able to put together that team. We indicted, I believe, as 133 people that brought in billions of dollars worth of drugs. None of them had any criminal record before, and we indicted them and convicted, after several years, every single one of them. I think it was 133. So that operation works. The name of that was Operation Jackpot. What has happened here is this is a larger operation. This is a nationwide operation that's going to be pushed by the Department of Justice. That will give it the power and the sustainability to get this done. And I want to congratulate all those involved. This was needed. There's a lot of money being wasted that could be spent very well on very needy things, very justified, very essential programs and people. And this is good news for this state. This is good news for this region. This is good news for the United States. And I congratulate everyone involved, and I wish you great success. Anything we can do in South Carolina to help, we will do. And thank you.
All right, so the DOJ having that press conference about fraud just within the past couple hours. Of course, those of you watching here, we saw President Trump and the Secretary of Transportation, Sean Duffy, talk about freedom haulers. Great to see that. Great event that we just saw here on the network. Coming up in just a couple minutes, we'll have the Florida Representative Kat Cammack will join us here on the network. We'll talk about how things are in D.C., how things are in Florida. Also, her reaction to Anthony Fauci pleading the fifth 111 times. And Also, the Save America Act, of course, we'll be talking with Kat about that coming up as soon as we get that live feed, as it's about to be 2 o'clock on the East Coast. Thanks again for joining us. We'll be right back here on Right Side Broadcasting Network.
Hey y'all, it's Silk from Diamond and Silk Chit Chat Live. Look, don't forget to watch my show right here at Right Side Broadcasting Network, and I want you to support Right Side Broadcasting Network. It's imperative that you do so, okay? Bye-bye.
Welcome to Right Side Broadcasting Network, your trusted conservative news outlet. At RSBN, we deliver the truth when the mainstream media falls short. Since 2015, we've proudly broadcasted every single one of President Trump's iconic MAGA rallies, bringing you the excitement and energy live before anyone else. By watching RSBN, you get an unfiltered front row view of the action on the ground. We interview the crowds to give a voice to millions of Americans just like you. We show you President Trump's speeches in their entirety, free from interruptions and censorship. We cover the stories that matter to you with the integrity and passion you deserve. Thank you for choosing RSBN as your home for America First News. Together, we stand strong, united, and informed. So join us and be part of the right side of history.
MyPillow's second annual mega sale is finally here. Get our patented premium MyPillows that adjust your exact individual needs to give you the best sleep of your life.
When I got MyPillow, I'm asleep almost immediately. I stay asleep at night and I wake up more well-rested in the morning.
I guarantee they're going to be the most comfortable pillows you'll ever own. King size only $24.98, queen size only $19.98. Giza Dream bed sheets, the best sheets in history, as low as $29.98. Lux Pierce 6-piece towel sets, towels that actually dry you. What a concept. Now only $39.98. And our made in the USA mattresses and mattress toppers as low as $99.98. So go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to take advantage of our second annual mega sale. Plus free shipping options available when you order today. So don't delay, order now.
Welcome back to Right Side Broadcasting Network. What we're going to do is we're going to wrap our show for now. Of course, record any interviews as we get ready to get into Friday, July 31st, the last day of the month of July, coming up as President Trump will be at Camp David tomorrow for his 13th cabinet meeting of his second administration, this time Camp David edition. So looking forward to seeing that here on Right Side Broadcasting Network. Joining us now is Florida Representative Kat Cammack. Thank you so much for joining us here on Right Side.
Hey, great to be with you. Thanks.
Definitely. Before we get into some specific topics, how are things in D.C. and how are things in Florida just from that 30,000-foot view?
Well, DC is crazy as always, as you know, but Florida is always awesome. And as we like to say, make America Florida. So every time I'm back home is a great time to be with friends, family, and around freedom-loving patriots.
Yeah, it's a great state. Some friends, close friends that live down there in the Punta Gorda area. Shifting from the Sunshine State, the Governor DeSantis doing a great job. You're doing a great job as well, of course. What's your reaction to Anthony Fauci pleading the fifth 111 times?
Disgusting. I mean, I just can't believe it. When you can't even answer what color tie you're wearing, what color the carpet is in front of you. I mean, it really is a slap in the face to all Americans. It's a real slap in the face to the families of those that lost loved ones during the pandemic. And we now know through all of the data points, through all of the science, and let us not forget that this is the same guy who called himself science, and you better not question him. We now know that so much of what he proposed was arbitrary. And it's just so insulting and absolutely ridiculous. He brought a team of lawyers to tell him repeatedly, just invoke the fifth. It was something out of a Chappelle skit more than it was a Senate hearing. So it really was. It was awful. It was disgusting. And candidly, he never should have been pardoned.
Exactly. And then to your point, the Chappelle skit, I saw it yesterday. Wanted to play it badly here on this network because it was quite hilarious, because it's exactly what Fauci did. Even the Eagles coach today referenced it in a sports interview, saying, I'm just going to plead the fifth like Fauci. And he actually said, can you believe that happened yesterday? I mean, everybody's kind of like, whoa, man, you didn't say a word. You're supposed to be this top doctor. Well, we know he's not. But anyway.
Exactly.
How bad do you want to see the Save America Act become the Save America law?
Well, I know for myself, it is the most important thing that we could be pushing right now in Washington. And obviously, the House cares deeply about it because we've passed it not one, not two, not three, but 4 times out of the House. And it's so important that we get this across the finish line that even my colleagues who don't want to admit that insider trading is a problem on Capitol Hill, they even voted to ban insider trading for members of Congress because we attached the Save America Act to it. So that tells you everything you need to know about how important this bill is. And the Senate would be strongly advised to stay in session. And as I like to say, just put the dang bill on the Senate floor. And if people want to vote against it, then they should have to go home and answer for it. But at least put the dang bill up for a vote.
Exactly. We the people, the massive majority of this country, agree with you. And also, finally, before I let you go, we just celebrated, of course, Independence Day, 250 for our country. Your thoughts about freedom in this country, what we need to do for the next 250 to have freedom, and also originally why you got into this thing called politics?
I think you have to have a little something loose in your brain to want to do politics today. But, my fight really came from when a government program helped take away my family's home. And once you've experienced homelessness, it really changes your perspective on things. And so not having a political background, not a political family, no means, not from money or anything, and fighting your way into the system in an effort to change it, you really start to appreciate what our founders and all those amazing patriots who have come before us have done. When you think about the next 250 years, we are at a turning point where you see a rise in sympathy and empathy for socialism and communism, and the crazy left, they're not hiding it anymore. So now more than ever, we have to protect our constitutional rights. We have to fight for our republic, and we have to show not just our fellow citizens, but the world that we are still that shining beacon on a hill, and that we're going to fight every day for those individual rights and for our families. And we're going to keep reducing the size and scope and power of government so that we continue to empower the people.
And this is exactly why you're a representative for Florida, because the people heard that word right there, and that resonates with all of us. Representative Kat Cammack, thank you again for joining us here on Right Side Broadcasting Network and what you're doing for Florida and the country.
Appreciate you.
Thank you. You too. All right, great interview there with Kat Cammack. At the end of our broadcast here, let's go to a couple of our sponsors. I believe we have to go to mypillow.com/RSBN. You see it right there. Great products, great pricing, great person. A lot of great going on. mypillow.com/RSBN. A lot of awesome products that you can check out there. Great prices too with the RSBN promo code. Also, if you'd like to donate to Right Side, all you have to do is go to rsbnetwork.com/donate. rsbnetwork.com/donate. For all of us at Right Side Broadcasting Network, I'm Matthew Alvarez. We'll see you tomorrow, because tomorrow is the cabinet meeting, the 13th of President Trump's second administration, this time from Camp David. We'll see you tomorrow.